I hope the screen is visible. श्रीवत्सवं शकलशोदधिकौस्तुभस्य श्रीवासराघवगुरोस्तनयं ततश्च विद्या अवाप्य विबुधोत्तमतां दधानं कुर्वे सदा हृदि गुरुं करुणाकराख्यं लक्ष्मीनाथसमारम्भां नाथयामुनमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. Traditionally, we recite Ramanujadaya Patram Jnana Vairagya Bhushanam Srimad Venkatanatharyam Vande Vedanta Deshikam. Before this shloka, Lakshmi Natha Samarambham Nathayamuna Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. The specific reason why I kept this shloka first instead of Ramanujadaya Patram that we traditionally recite is to ensure that students do not get confused. The first shloka that was recited was of my Acharya. But it is not just him who needs to be worshipped. All the Acharyas, starting from Lakshmi Natha, Sakshat Sriman Narayana himself, they have to be paid respects. Therefore, this shloka, Lakshmi Natha Samarambham Nathayamuna Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. This shloka was added. The shloka has a speciality that it talks about the entire Guru Parampara. The other shlokas, if you see, before this and after this, the previous shloka was for one Acharya, that is my Venerable Acharya. After this, whatever you would see would be for specific Acharyas again. But coming in a, what do you say, chronologically consistent order. Therefore, we have one shloka covering the entire Guru Parampara here. Then we have 1-2 shlokas for the Alvars. Apart from that, the shlokas that we have, they are for Bhagavad Ramanuja, without whose knowledge we would not know about all of these Alvars. And that Bhagavad Ramanuja, who was worshipped since ancient times, even before he was born. After that, we also say one shloka for Swami Deshika. If you see this specific shloka, Lakshmi Natha Samarambham Natha Yamuna Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. This shloka appears to be leaving out the name of Bhagavad Ramanuja. Lakshmi Natha refers to Vishnu. Natha refers to Natha Muni. Yamuna refers to Yamuna Acharya. Asmadacharya refers to our current Acharya. Then, how could the great Bhagavad Ramanuja be ignored in this shloka? We should not get such kinds of doubts as to who is better. Is Nathamuni better than Bhagavad Ramanuja? Is Yamunacharya better? Is that the reason why his name has not come? We should not make such a kind of a mistake. There was a person called Kuresha. We call him Kurattalvan in Tamil. He was a student of Bhagavad Ramanuja. This Kuresha is the one who composed the shloka Lakshmi Natha Samarambha. We will see about him in greater detail after some classes about his association with Bhagavad Ramanuja. He was originally called Srivatsanka Mishra. Kurattalwan in Tamil we call him, as he was ruling a place called Kuram. So he composed the shloka Yo Nityam Achyuta Padambuja Yugma Rukma. This shloka that you are seeing here. He is also the person who composed this shloka, Lakshmi Natha Samarambham. This shloka means Samarambham, with an auspicious beginning, by worshipping Sriman Narayana in the beginning, because the Guru Parampara had an auspicious beginning with Lakshmi Natha, that is Sriman Narayana. So this Guru Parampara, which had an auspicious beginning with Sriman Narayana, and in between it had great acharyas like Nathamuni and Yamunacharya, and so far it has come, that is until my very acharya, Asmadacharya Paryantam. I offer salutations to the entire Guru Parampara. This is the meaning of this shloka. When Kuratalwan composed this shloka, his acharya was none other than Bhagavad Ramanuja. Therefore, when he said Asmadacharya Paryantam, he was actually referring to Sakshat Ramanujacharya only, not anybody else. So let us not have any kind of confusion as to why Ramanujacharya is not mentioned in the shloka. In Lakshmi Natha Samarambham Nathayamuna Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Mande Guru Paramparam. That Asmadacharya in the mind of Kuresha was none other than Jagadguru Ramanujacharya. This shloka that was composed by Kuratalwan became extremely popular because it was simple, very easy to recite. One shloka that prays to the entirety of Guru Parampara. So it got very popular outside. That is why in the Shankara Parampara, that is, if you look at the Advaita Parampara, Shankaradvaita Parampara, you see two variants of the shloka, not one but two variants. Narayana Samarambham, Shankaracharya Madhyamam. There they mention Shankaracharya, Adi Shankaracharya. Another, when they say Sadashiva Samarambham, Vyasa Shankara Madhyamam. Again they say Shankara. They use the word Shankara, implying that Adi Shankaracharya was part of their Guru Parampara. This particular shloka does not have it because the composer's Acharya himself was Bhagavad Ramanuja. As the other sampradayas created the shlokas later, they made sure to mention their most important Acharya. So, the importance of Bhagavad Ramanuja is also conveyed in this shloka. If you see this shloka, Yo Nityam Achyuta Padambuja Yugma Rukma, Vyamohatastaditarani Trunaya Mene, Asmad Guror Bhagavatosya Dayaika Sindhoho, Ramanujasya Charanau Sharanam Prapadye. I have been reciting this shloka also at the start of every class. The meaning of the shloka is not given in the slide. Therefore, let us look at that also. Ramanujasya Charanau Sharanam Prapadye. I surrender to the divine feet of Bhagavad Ramanuja, who Asmad Guroho Ramanujasya. Asmad Guroho. So he is our Guru. He is Dayaika Sindhoho. He is Dayaika Sindhuhu. Because Shashti Bhakti is used, Ramanujasya, Dayaika Sindhoho, Asmad Guroho. Those kinds of words have been used. Dayaika Sindhu means an ocean that is completely filled with only and only compassion. He is an ocean of compassion where the ocean has only compassion. Daya alone is there. Take it that way. Bhagavad Ramanuja, due to his intense attachment to the holy feet of Bhagavan, who is referred to as Achyuta in this shloka. Yaha, who, that is Bhagavad Ramanuja, Nityam Achyuta Padambuja Yugma Rukma Vyamohadasta Ditarani Trunaya Mene. Out of complete attachment towards the divine lotus feet of Bhagavan, Achyuta, what did he do? Itarani Trunaya Mene. Taditarani. Everything other than the feet of Bhagavan. What did Bhagavad Ramanuja see that as? He saw everything as useless, worthless. Like how normally we don't attach any importance to grass. Grass is useless, it will grow anywhere, it is there, just like that. Let us ignore it. If there is a tree, I will worry about it. If there is some grass growing up in my compound, I may not worry about it. Grass means it is meaningless, worthless. In that sense, since ancient days, the comparison has been made. We can see such comparisons even in Ramayana and Mahabharata. So, in that sense, Bhagavad Ramanuja, his focus was consistently in the lotus feet of Bhagavan. And therefore, he did not value anything other than the lotus feet of Bhagavan. That is why his teachings also focus on taking us towards Bhagavan. 9 works are attributed to Bhagavad Ramanuja. All of them teach us how to attain moksha. He has not written any commentary on Dharma Shastras. He has not written on Artha Shastra. He could have written on n number of things. But everything that he wrote was focused on teaching us Artha Panchaka and taking us to Bhagavan. And that compassion that he had, because he had understood that the lotus feet of Bhagavan are the supreme. That is the supreme thing that needs to be reached, attained. Having understood it, he wanted to share that knowledge with everybody. With complete compassion, he came and taught everybody, irrespective of community. Why is it that in the context of Ramanujacharya, we keep saying irrespective of community, and so on? Because of 2 reasons. One, most acharyas before him, who are recorded in history, they had very select disciples. They did not have lots and lots of disciples, and they preferred to teach internally, because of which many times knowledge would not get transferred outside the community. But in the case of Bhagavad Ramanuja, he did not worry about community, he did not worry about gender. He taught so many people, thousands and thousands of followers he got. And even his successors, if you see, there were 74 successors declared by him, not 1 or 2. How could you have so many successors? That is the number of people who were taught by him. And his aim was not to say, okay, I was the central figure, after me he will be the central figure. It's very easy to say that. But he wanted to spread the divine message of Sri Vaishnavism, the divine philosophy of Vishishtadvaita. He wanted to spread it outside. And therefore, with the intent of spreading it out well, he declared so many successors. This is the compassion that he had. Hence, Asmadguror Bhagavatosya Dayaika Sindhoho Ramanujasya Charanau Sharanam Prapadye. Let me recite the full shloka again. Yo nityamachyuta padambuja yugma rukma vyamohatastaditarani trunayamene अस्मद्गुरोर् भगवतोस्य दयैक सिन्धोः रामानुजस्य चरणौ शरणं प्रपद्ये माता पिता युवतयस्तनया विभूतिः सर्वं यदेव नियमेन मदन्वयानामाद्यस्य नः कुलपतेर्वकुलाभिरामं श्रीमत्तदङ्घ्रियुगलं प्रणमामि मूर्ध्ना भूतं सरश्च महदाह्वय भट्टनाथ श्रीभक्तिसारकुलशेखरयोगिवाहान् भक्ताङ्घ्रिरेणुपरकालयतीन्द्रमिश्रान् श्रीमत्पराङ्कुशमुनिं प्रणतोऽस्मि नित्यम्. If we know so much about Bhagavad Ramanuja, that is because of a number of works by great acharyas. I have cited previously Yatiraja Saptati, which celebrates Bhagavad Ramanuja. That was composed by Swami Vedanta Deshika, who is praised in this shloka, Shriman Venkatanathārya Kavitarkika Kesari Vedanta Acharya Varyo me Sannidhattam Sadahrudi. So, Swami Deshika, who had received the compassion of Bhagavad Ramanuja in full, and who was so full of jnana and vairagya. He was great at poetry, but he was also great at logic. He was great at Vedanta, and he lived his life to set an example. We will see about the story of Swami Deshika later. We pay our respects to him as well, naturally. So, let us have a quick recap of the previous lecture. How quickly can we attain moksha? Shariravasane. We saw that. Then we also saw about the great Acharya Mahapurna. Bhagavan had asked Bhagavad Ramanuja to go and surrender to him in order to get initiated. We also saw about a few good qualities, auspicious qualities of Bhagavad Ramanuja. Now, let us see what else happened in his life. Bhagavad Ramanuja was with great respect treating his guru, that is the great Mahapurna. So, what happened was, as per the instructions of Bhagavan, which as per Divya Suri Charita, it says, Tadbhavottaraमिदमस्यहं हि तत्त्वं सद्वैतं मतमपि साधनं प्रपत्तिः मोक्षस्याद्भुवि चरमः स्मृतिं च हित्वा पूर्णार्ये महति समाश्रयोऽस्य कार्यः. The same 6 answers that we finished covering in the previous class. Contemplating on the meanings of these 6 answers, Bhagavad Ramanuja learned from his guru as per the instructions of Bhagavan himself. What happened at that time was as he was learning, oh. Sorry. The great Acharya, Mahapurna, he decided to stay in Kanchipuram itself. He performed seva of Bhagavan, Varadaraja, and he had appeared there along with his wife to do so. One day, it so happened that the wives of both of them, that is Bhagavad Ramanuja's wife and also the wife of Mahapurna Swami, both of them were drawing water from the well. Somehow, somehow, their vessels got mixed up. Bhagavad Ramanuja's wife did not like this. So, she started using hurtful words towards the wife of Periyanambigal. He was hearing all of those. How his own Shishya's wife is insulting his wife. He heard the entire thing. But as the epitome of sattva, what did he do? He decided not to speak back, not to argue back. He did not do anything. Instead, silently, without informing, he decided to leave. So, he ended up leaving Kanchipuram and visiting Srirangam again, where the Guru is insulted. It is not necessary for the Guru to stay. The Guru moved away. But is it an option to stay? No, it is not. It is not just about Guru. It is also about Guru Patni. Correct? One should respect the Guru's Patni as well, not just the Guru. It is very much important for us to understand this. So, this incident was initially not known to Bhagavad Ramanuja. He did not know about this incident. Okay, the water from the vessel of my Acharya's wife has become mixed up with the water collected by my wife. He did not know about those details. He was not there at that time. But when he realized that his Acharya has left the place, he is no longer there, and he inquired. He eventually understood that this is the reason. Then he remembered the past. He remembered the past where two other mistakes had been committed by his wife in the past. It is said that in the past, once there was a little food left with her, but when people who were hungry came for bhiksha, she did not give them because she wanted to give that food to her husband first. She thought there is little food left. If I give it in bhiksha to these Sri Vaishnavas, I will not be able to feed my husband. Therefore, let me feed my husband first. This attitude had been observed by him earlier. He had also observed about how she subtly insulted Tirukkachi in the past. It is said that Bhagavad Ramanuja, when he tried to consume the prasada left after being consumed by the great Kanchi Purna, she had prevented it from happening. She had questioned it. So, thinking about these kinds of incidents, Bhagavad Ramanuja thought, if I remain in Grihasthashrama, I have told her many times not to distinguish between communities. Yet she distinguished with Kanchi Purna, the great Swami. I consider him to be a guru. My guru, other guru, the one who gave me Samashrayana, his wife has been insulted, and therefore he has been insulted. The consequences of these things are hurting both me and her. She is probably not understanding the consequences of her actions, but it is my duty to ensure that we minimize such wrong things. How do we minimize it? As long as I live with her, she will prioritize me over everybody else. Plus, prioritizing me over other Bhagavatas, well, that is a problem. On top of that, it is also possible that further apacharas might be committed against Bhagavatas. Therefore, let me leave this Grihastha ashrama and go and take sannyasa diksha. Therefore, he went to Anantasaras. He performed snana and then he took sannyasa. It is said that when you take up sannyasa, you take the danda. Bhagavad Ramanuja, being Vishishtadvaita, he took the tridanda. And then you are supposed to shout out loudly that you are leaving out. You are leaving all your relatives. I'm leaving my wife. I'm leaving my relatives. In that way, you are supposed to say very, very loudly, declaring sannyasa. That is part of the procedure of taking up sannyasa. But when the time came to declare this way, he ended up declaring in such a way that he included two of his shishyas who were also his relatives, both of them his nephews. Except for them, I renounce all my relations. In this manner, Bhagavad Ramanuja declared. I renounce my wife. This has been declared directly. But then he is also saying, I am renouncing all relatives except for these two nephews. Why? Because these two nephews constantly gave him the thoughts of Bhagavan. They were great Bhagavatas. Sannyasa says you should leave your family so that you can focus on Bhagavan. It does not mean that you cancel out great Bhagavatas who themselves are in the path of attaining Bhagavan and are helping you also. You cannot go and cancel them in the name of taking up sannyasa. That would destroy the very purpose of sannyasa. Therefore, he did not renounce their relations. By this time, his fame had grown even more. Yadava Prakasha's mother, she visited Yadava Prakasha and she said, look, I know what you feel. You thought you are right and you debated, but he proved you wrong. Unfortunately, he was your Shishya and you did not want to admit defeat in front of your Shishya. Therefore, you kept arguing back and fostering a kind of enmity. But Bhagavad Ramanuja himself has not kept any such feeling. Think about yourself. Are you going to remain on the side of wrong philosophy? Or are you going to move in the path of truth and righteousness? Because you cannot attain Bhagavan if you try the former. For you to attain Bhagavan, you have to go in the path of truth and righteousness. And that true philosophy is being taught by Bhagavad Ramanuja. Look, he has taken sannyas now. Therefore, you approach him. You take up the Tridanda under him. You become a Tridandi sannyasi. And therefore, you will also be saved. Bhagavan, Devaraja, that is the Bhagavan of Kanchipuram, he came in Yadava Prakasha's dream that night. So in that night, after he had heard his mother recommend him to go to Bhagavad Ramanuja, that night Bhagavan appears in the dream of Yadava Prakasha and he says, I am aware of what you are thinking. You are thinking of performing pradakshina of the entire earth as prayashchitta for your past sins. But I will tell you something. You go to Bhagavad Ramanuja as per the advice of your mother and you do pradakshina of him. If you circle him, you will get the same karma phala of doing this parikrama of the entire earth. The next morning, Yadava Prakasha started thinking, my mother is telling me to go to him. In my dream, Bhagavan is also telling me to go to him. Should I really go? He starts thinking. The next minute, his asattva guna steps in. He starts thinking, wait, that was just a dream. My mother gave an advice. It is possible that she is wrong. I saw Bhagavan in my dream. But who knows whether it was really Bhagavan or just a figment of my imagination. Every dream does not come true. We know that for a fact. Maybe I kept thinking about what my mother said, and because of that, as a figment of my imagination, I saw Bhagavan in my dream. Therefore, let me try to find out what Bhagavan really wants. Now, Yadava Prakasha went to Kanchi Purna Swami, that is Tirukachi Nambigal, and he requested him. He said, I would like to know what needs to be done by me. Can you please go and ask Bhagavan? Accordingly, Tirukachi Nambigal went. We know, right? He had the ability to converse with Bhagavan. That is how he got answers to Bhagavad Ramanuja's questions. Now he is asking the question of Yadava Prakasha, for which Bhagavan said, it's very simple. I have already told him what's to be done in his dream. Tell him to follow that without any doubt. If he follows my advice to him in the dream, that will give him auspiciousness. Accordingly, Kanchi Purna Swami returned and informed Yadava Prakasha about whatever he was told. And Yadava Prakasha, who had by now understood that ego is not going to give him paraloka, he approached Bhagavad Ramanuja and with pure devotion, he performed pradakshina. And afterwards requested to be accepted as a Shishya and given the Tridandi Sannyasa Diksha. Bhagavad Ramanuja was happy. He could have said, I don't want you. What all you tried to do. You were fine when people hatched a plan to kill me. You did not accept facts when I told them to you. You could not accept even simple facts from me. You literally made me to stop coming to you to learn. After all that you have done, why should I spare you? An ordinary person might have felt this way, but Bhagavad Ramanuja did not feel any such feeling. He did not feel any hatred. All he had was compassion. And with that supreme compassion, he immediately accepted Yadava Prakasha as his disciple. Some years later, Yadava Prakasha would write Yati Dharma Samuchaya, which deals with Sannyasa Dharma. We still follow it. The sannyasis of Vishishtadvaita quote Yati Dharma Samuchaya to explain the exact duties and other aspects related to the sannyasi, related to sannyasa ashrama. So, as an ocean of compassion, as we saw earlier, Asmad Guror Bhagavatosya Dayaika Sindhoho Ramanujasya Charanam Sharanam Prapadye. He was an ocean of compassion, and his focus was not on whether people insulted him or accepted him. Yadava Prakasha right now, he is not insulting. He has come with a pure heart. He is fit to be accepted. When somebody comes to you with a pure heart and surrenders, no matter what their past, you have to accept them. This is the teaching of Bhagavan, which Bhagavad Ramanuja showed by implementing. So, Yadava Prakasha became his Shishya. Once, Bhagavad Ramanuja visited Sri Rangam and Bhagavan gave him darshan. At that time, Bhagavan gave a boon to Bhagavad Ramanuja. He says, look, you came here because of divine instructions. There are two vibhutis that I am the master of. One is called Lila Vibhuti, the other is Nitya Vibhuti. Nitya Vibhuti is Vaikuntha, Lila Vibhuti is the universe. I have given you both of them. You can enter Vaikuntha, but your role here is in this samsara to prepare people and help them to attain Vaikuntha, which is essentially the state of moksha. So, I have given you both of these. Both of these will therefore become easy for your shishyas as well, for your sevakas as well. So, those who serve you, those who believe you, those who follow your path, for those people, I will make both the vibhutis easy. Life on earth will be easy, and then they will naturally feel absolute ease as they attain Vaikuntha. Having said this is a boon given by Bhagavan. After giving this boon, Bhagavan said, I would like you to take care of this temple from now on. Which temple? The temple of Sri Rangam. I would like you to take care of this temple from now on. In this manner, Bhagavan instructed him. So, he completely abided by it. Bhagavad Ramanuja made the king of that place as his Shishya and ensured peace and stability in the kingdom, ensured the rule of Dharma, and then he started preparing based on the scriptural teachings. He started preparing the rules and regulations for the management of Sri Rangam temple. As he was in Srirangam, which is also where his Acharya was, he went to visit him. He fell at the feet of the great Acharya Mahapurna and he said, "It is by your blessings that I got a darshan of Bhagavan. It is by your blessings that I got boons from him. I am so grateful to you." The Acharya, on hearing this, he got extremely pleased. Now that Bhagavad Ramanuja was also in Srirangam, the education could continue. So he started resuming to teach Bhagavad Ramanuja. He started teaching the Rahasyarthas that he had learned through Guru Parampara as well. And then afterwards, he said, "I have taught you everything from my side. However, there are other acharyas, Shri Goshti Purna, Shri Shaila Purna, Maladhara, Vararangi. These are all great acharyas who are also Shishyas of Yamunacharya, just like me. Each one of them also carries a number of teachings of the great Yamunacharya. And they, in their own fields, they have much better knowledge than me. Therefore, please approach them." निक्षिप्तास्तव किल यामुने यतीर्थैः केऽप्यर्था जगवनाय तान् गृहाण श्रीगोष्ठीनगरवृषावनीध्रपूर्ण श्रीमालाधरवररङ्गिगायकेषु. So, you go to all of them and you learn from them as well. Therefore, unlike Yadava Prakasha, who said, "What I say is correct, what I say is supreme. I am always right, you are always wrong, and there is nobody better than me." Unlike that person, we see in the behavior of this Acharya Mahapurna that he is not jealous of everybody. He does not have any kind of ego. He gave all the knowledge that he had. And then he said, for specialization, for advanced studies, you approach these people because in certain fields, they are better than me. You go to them and learn. So, each one of them also has certain rahasyarthas taught by Yamunacharya with them. Go there and learn from them. Then, Bhagavad Ramanuja also decided to accept it. By this time, Bhagavad Ramanuja had 70 Shishyas, 70. Therefore, he wanted to learn while ensuring that his 70 disciples also get to learn everything. This was his aim. So, Bhagavad Ramanuja, what do we learn from this? He was not selfish. I will have complete knowledge. I will not impart everything to the Shishya. I will always be superior to the Shishya. No. Whatever I learn, my Shishyas should also get to learn. That kind of an attitude. with this kind of a dharmic intention, he thought, okay, I have to approach them for learning. Before that, let me ensure that the best people are appointed, the best practices are adopted, the best possible management of the temple is taken care of. Having taken such a decision, Bhagavad Ramanuja proceeded. In the next lecture, we will see about the exact arrangements he made at Srirangam and then continue the story of his divine life and teachings. For now, if you have any question, feel free to ask. Small, simple stories that we saw, but which they have profound teachings. Mahapurna was Brahmana. Yet, when water from the pot filled with water by his wife mixed with the water used by Bhagavad Ramanuja's wife, the latter had a problem. Let us assume there is a mistake. How should you respond? You should be polite. There is no point in using insultful words. It is said that even the Guru should not use such kinds of insultful words to the Shishya. The Guru should be a Dayalu. In the specific example, Bhagavad Ramanuja's wife was not a Guru. She was not at the position of Guru, but if even the Guru has to be Dayalu towards the Shishya, then what if the other person is not even your Shishya? You should obviously show even greater compassion. It is natural. How Mahapurna reacted when he saw the problem. Instead of fighting, he decided to silently move back to Srirangam along with his wife. That is the second lesson that we see. Conflict resolution. You don't have to necessarily go and fight and argue. You cannot change the past. Arguing is not going to change anything. That is the second lesson that we learn. The third lesson that we learn is no matter what it might be, if it comes in the way of dharma, if it comes in the way of moksha, it needs to be discarded. This is the teaching of Krishna in Bhagavad Gita and also outside of Bhagavad Gita in the Mahabharata. This is what Bhagavad Ramanuja also followed, because of which he took sannyasa diksha. He did not make it mandatory for everybody to enter sannyasa ashrama, but he himself entered so that he could focus properly on Bhagavan without being the cause of any apachara. So this is the third lesson that we learn. The fourth lesson, Yamunacharya, who was so doubtful, his mother told him, he could have immediately gone. He did not do. Bhagavan himself came in the dream and told him. He could have immediately gone. He did not go. Kanchipurna also told him. He ended up believing. Think about this carefully. Yadava Prakasha, who was clouded by his own mind, ideally, whose words will you immediately accept? You would prioritize the words of your mother over the words of other people. You would prioritize the words of Bhagavan over the words of other people. In the case of Yadava Prakasha, very interestingly, when his mother said, he did not do. When Bhagavan said, he did not do. But when the great Tirukachchinambi came and said, yes, this is what Bhagavan wants you to do, Yadava Prakasha decided to do. This takes us to the fourth lesson, that certain people who have their own biases, they may not want to accept the truth. Such people might be thinking about themselves as being extremely logical. It is just a dream. Maybe it wasn't really Bhagavan, maybe I only imagined him. Those kinds of logical reasoning, they will apply logic very beautifully, but only wherever they want and whenever they want. It is a problem with such people. That is the reason why they end up doing things that do not really sound logical. They run so much behind logic that they miss logic itself and go even further. You're not listening to your mother, you're not listening to Bhagavan, but you're listening to Tirukachchinambi. What does it show? It shows two things. One, your own mindset. And the second, the greatness of Tirukachchinambigal. That Bhagavan lets Bhagavatas to take greater respect. That is the desire of Bhagavan. Bhagavatas deserve greater respect than even Bhagavan himself. So using this as yet another Leela, we could say that Bhagavan taught this message to us. This was the fourth lesson, right? About Yadava Prakasha. The fifth lesson. Bhagavan came in the dream of Ramanujacharya. How did he behave? Or did Bhagavan really come, or did I just dream about it? He did not question. Whatever is said is auspicious. It is good. He is not asking me to go and do some wrong things for me to even question him. Whatever he is saying is very, very good thing. So I will settle here. I will do seva at this temple. I will ensure that this large temple is managed properly. So this is the fifth lesson. A contrast from what Yadava Prakasha did. So even if it is your dream, even if it is not Bhagavan who is appearing in your dream, even if it is some imaginary creature, let us say flying spaghetti monster comes and visits you in your dream, and it says, from today onwards, speak only the truth, don't speak lies. It doesn't matter. The teaching is good, you have to accept it. It doesn't matter who is telling you, if the teaching is good. Bhagavad Ramanuja was blessed enough to have Bhagavan himself appear and say it. We may not be that fortunate, but no matter where we hear about dharma from, we should accept it. That is another lesson. That makes it lesson number 6. 2 lessons from the dream of Bhagavad Ramanuja. And then the 7th lesson. Always keep seeking knowledge. Always have faith. Bhagavan said, Mahapurnam Samashrayet. That is why he went. And the Guru went away. What should you do as a pure Shishya? You should go behind the Guru. Oh, he stopped teaching me, therefore I will stop approaching him. Does he think he have ego? I will show him my ego. I will not go to him. I will not study anything from him. How dare he stop teaching me? That was not the attitude of Bhagavad Ramanuja. He had not shown it in the past even with Yadava Prakasha. He continued to have gratitude to the Guru. He continued to have gratitude towards the Guru. And even attributed the boon received by him to the blessings of the Guru. So, this is the 7th lesson that we learn from today's class. Do not leave Guru Bhakti. Do not leave Bhagavad Bhakti. Because Bhagavan has said, go and become his Shishya. I will do it. Bhagavan knows better than me. That kind of feeling needs to be there. So with these 7 teachings, let us conclude today's class. Let me see the chat section. If there is any question, we can take it up. What about her feelings? Whom will she depend on now? Firstly, she is in family. It is not as though she is completely isolated. Secondly, in matters of dharma, we don't really decide what needs to be done based on feelings. I'll give you a simple example. In Mahabharata, if you go by Duryodhana's feelings, Duryodhana should be the king. If you go by Yudhishthira's feelings, Yudhishthira should be the king. Who will you support? Both of them have feelings. But you support the side that has dharma. She has feelings, no doubt. But she should have feelings towards others as well. She should learn to treat people of other communities with respect. She should have treated my Guru Patni with respect. Her adharma is preventing my spiritual progress. And hers also. Is that not a problem? Therefore, decisions that you take in life should not be based on how will my wife feel, how will my brother feel, how will my son feel, how will my husband feel. No. Decisions that you take in life should be based on what is dharma. This is the teaching that Krishna gives in Bhagavad Gita. That was perfectly followed by Bhagavad Ramanuja. So yes, not 7 lessons, we have 8 from today's class. Indeed, it is difficult. That is why we celebrate Bhagavad Ramanuja. We don't celebrate every ordinary man, no. We celebrate great people because they achieved great difficult things. We do not celebrate ordinary people. Did he have the permission of his wife before taking up sannyasa? See, it is not like the wife should give permission. The word permission is not that appropriate in this context. Permission is when they have the right completely. That is not what we talk about here. We talk about what is called as consent at best. And consent, in matters of consent also, dharma will take precedence. If in the name of consent, you say, like you see what happens in the UN, right? You need consent from all the permanent states. What happens? Every time India tries to do something against the terrorists, some country that I don't wish to name will use its veto power. I don't give consent. I don't give consent. So by using consent as, what do you say? Bottleneck. They try to strangle So in the context of consent also, we have dharma and adharma. Please try to understand this. If you are taking the permission of your mother to get sannyasa, like in the case of Shankaracharya, Shankaracharya was a child, therefore he needed the permission. He got the permission. How did he get? Did he say, "Oh mother, I want to take up sannyasa, please let me"? And she said, "Yes, go ahead, take. I'm very happy." That did not happen. He made her to accept that sannyasa is the best for him. Through, of course, the Leela played with the crocodile. You are probably aware of the story. I'm not going to get into the details. So while the scripture says that you shouldn't abandon your duties, it does not say that once you are giving a guarantee that you will not abandon your duties, you can also abandon dharma for the sake of your relatives. It does not say so. At this point, Bhagavad Ramanuja thought, Bhagavan himself told me to accept him as my guru. But that guru sambandha has been broken because of what my wife did. Now, what will I value? Will I value living with my wife, or will I value the guru sambandha that Bhagavan himself wants me to have? Naturally, I will value only the guru sambandha. Therefore, let me approach him. Bhagavad Ramanuja's wife also would have eventually accepted the sannyasa. We do not see any record of her vehemently protesting against it and asking him to be at home. No, 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 how could you do this to me? This is absolute betrayal. I will not let you go. We don't see her saying these kinds of things. We don't have any proof for that. So, we are to understand that he indeed took sannyasa diksha, and she was herself a very knowledgeable and intelligent person. Being of such a nature, she accepted the fact and moved on. Let us conclude here. Thank you so much for attending. Shri Shodati Kostubasya Shivas Raghav Guru Sarim Tatasha Vidyavapi Bhotamatam Dodhan Kubesada Hridigum Kurmakrakhi Kavitarka Simhai Kalyan Gunashadine Shrimate Venkateshaya Vedanta Guru Veram